Most gardeners are accidentally starving their soil while sitting on a constant supply of nutrients in their own kitchen. The mistake? Throwing raw food scraps straight into the garden or compost pile and assuming it's helping. It's not. In many cases, it's doing the opposite, locking up nitrogen, attracting pests, and slowing down plant growth when your crops should be accelerating. Raw kitchen waste is unstable. It pulls nutrients from the soil as it breaks down, competes with plant roots, and creates inconsistent conditions underground. That's why you'll sometimes see plants actually stall after adding organic matter. It wasn't ready. I learned this the hard way after watching one of my raised beds decline despite adding more and more scraps. That's when I shifted to controlling the breakdown process instead of guessing, and one of the simplest tools that helped me do that consistently is the 4-liter electric composter for kitchen. It turns daily food waste into a dry, stable material in hours instead of weeks, without smell or mess. It solves the problem of adding raw waste too early. I'll leave the exact one I use in the description if you want to check it out, but the real value is what happens next. Because once I had a consistent, ready-to-use input, I tested something that completely changed how I approach soil. So instead of waiting weeks for compost to mature, I took freshly processed kitchen waste, what most people would call finished in this controlled system, and applied it directly to one section of a raised bed that had been underperforming. This bed wasn't dead, but it was struggling. Growth was slow, leaves were lighter than they should be, and watering didn't hold. I didn't mix it in. That's the first thing most people get wrong. I applied a thin layer, about 1 centimeter, right on the surface. Then I lightly watered it, just enough to bring it into contact with the soil below. No soaking, no flooding. And then I covered it. Not heavily, just a light organic layer to hold moisture and protect the surface. That small move is what most people overlook, and it's one of the reasons this works so fast. Now here's where it started to feel almost unrealistic. Within 24 hours, the soil underneath had already changed. Not dramatically on the surface, but when I pressed into it, it felt softer, slightly warmer. That warmth is microbial activity ramping up. When organic material is already broken down into a usable form, microbes don't waste time, they start processing immediately. By the next day, moisture retention improved. The top layer didn't dry out as quickly, and water started distributing more evenly instead of pooling or running off. But the real shift came in the plants. Leaf color deepened slightly. Growth tips looked more active. Nothing exaggerated, but enough to tell that nutrient availability had improved fast. And this is where most gardening advice falls apart. People think compost feeds plants directly. It doesn't. Compost feeds microbes, and microbes feed plants. If your compost isn't ready, that chain breaks. If it is ready, everything speeds up. That's why this 24-hour turnaround feels like black gold. It's not magic, it's timing. Now let's talk about what actually makes this work, because if you miss this part, you'll either see no results or create new problems. The first factor is particle size. When kitchen waste is processed into smaller, uniform material, surface area increases. That gives microbes more access, which speeds up breakdown and nutrient cycling. The second factor is stability. Raw scraps are unpredictable. Some break down fast, others don't. When you control the process, you remove that variability. What you're applying becomes consistent every time. The third factor is placement. Keeping this material at the surface, instead of burying it, allows oxygen to stay available. Most beneficial microbes need oxygen. When you bury organic matter too deep, you slow everything down. I tested this exact method in containers as well, and honestly, the results were even more noticeable. Containers dry out faster and lose nutrients quicker than in-ground systems. By applying a thin layer of processed compost on top and maintaining consistent moisture, I saw plants recover from stress faster than with liquid feeds. And here's something most people won't expect. I used less input overall. Because the system became more efficient, I didn't need to keep adding more and more material. The soil started holding nutrients longer and cycling them better. Now, this doesn't mean you can ignore balance. If you over-apply, even with good compost, you can still create problems. Too thick a layer blocks airflow and traps too much moisture. That's when things turn anaerobic, and that's when you start seeing negative effects. That's why I stick to thin layers. 0.5 centimetre to 1 centimetre is enough. You're feeding the system, not burying it. Water control matters just as much. If things get too dry, microbial activity really slows down. But, if it's too wet, oxygen just disappears. The balance here is what actually drives the speed of the whole process. And, well, this applies beyond soil gardening. In hydroponic systems, you don't use compost directly, but honestly, the same principle applies. Controlled inputs just outperform random ones every time. Systems that rely on stable, predictable nutrient sources always produce better results than those based on guesswork. Back in the garden, this method really changes how you think about waste. Instead of seeing kitchen scraps as something to get rid of, you start seeing them as a daily input stream that can continuously feed your soil, if processed correctly. And once you experience how fast this works, it's honestly hard to go back to waiting weeks for a compost pile to maybe be ready. But here's the part most people won't realize until they try it. This isn't just about speed, it's about consistency. When your inputs are consistent, your results become predictable. Plants respond the same way each time. Soil improves steadily instead of in random bursts. That's what separates controlled gardening from reactive gardening. So if you've been struggling with slow growth, inconsistent results, or soil that just doesn't seem to improve no matter what you add, well, this is likely the missing piece. Not more inputs. What you really need is better timing and better processing. If you're into practical methods like this that actually work in real gardens, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. This is where we focus on tested systems, not just theories. Because at the end of the day, soil health isn't built by accident. It's built by understanding how inputs, microbes, and plants interact. And once you get that right, even something as simple as kitchen waste becomes one of the most powerful tools you have. If this helped you rethink composting, share it with someone who's still throwing scraps straight into their garden and wondering why nothing's changing. And, well, I'll see you in the next one.